So today I'm going to be talking about a research project that I did between 2000 and 2004. Several articles were published from that study, but I'm going to be putting the focus on one that was published in 2006 in the Journal of Gerontological Social Work. I was the first author and the second one was Nancy Leclerc. The title of the article is Ethical and Psychosocial Issues Raised by the Practice in Cases of Mistreatment of Older Adults. This study was really putting the focus on the ethical and psychosocial issues raised by practice in cases of elder abuse. So the study that I was doing was really trying to identify through discourse on practice what were the main problems, but also the main challenges that were going on in those types of cases. There's a lot of literature regarding elder abuse intervention, but there's not that much literature regarding ethical issues raised by intervention. So I did put a lot of focus on those issues. And actually, from a general lit review, what came out were 5 main topics. The first one is the importance for the practitioners to take a step back and to think about what are their values, but also what are the ways that they see seniors and that they see mistreatment or elder abuse. That being said, is I really want practitioners to be able to think if they have an ageist approach of seniors or if they are capable of actually seeing older adults in their full complexity. Regarding mistreatment or abuse, it's the same thing. Like, it rings a bell and it touches everyone to talk about violence and neglect. But it's important for practitioners to think about what it is for them, how do they see it, and what is the limit that they do tolerate or not in their own lives and also in their professional life. If they don't do that, actually, they will not have the same starting point. And some cases of elder abuse can be not seen. The second point regarding the lit review was looking at the competency issues of seniors. This is one of the main issue. When the senior has a full competency, they should be allowed to self-determination. When they lost their capacity, and actually when they were evaluated and there is a trustee or there's a curator in the file, usually someone else will decide for them. But in many cases of elder abuse, what we find is a gray zone, where actually people are capable of making decisions for certain parts of their life, but not capable for others. That means that the practitioner has a very important role to really ascertain that in each step of the intervention process, the senior does understand what is going on. The third thing that came out in the lit review was regarding the confidentiality or the right to share information between practitioners, but also between agencies. This is a main question for many practitioners because they would like to be able to share the information and to have an interprofessional approach. But sometimes they feel that they are not allowed. They're even feeling that there could be a lawsuit against them if they do share some information. So I think it's very important for all agencies to be very clear in their message towards the practitioner. The fourth point of view was questioning the responsibility for intervention. Actually, we raised it as saying, is it a social or a family responsibility? And I was surprised to see again in the literature that in some cases we still think that this is a private or a family matter where we shouldn't jump in. While in fact, if we do accept that this is a social problem, that means that we have to look at it as having some structured services, but also some policies or at least some directions guiding the intervention in those cases. And finally, the fifth point that came out from the literature review, I think is the most important regarding ethical issues. It is the balance between different values. This is mainly balancing 2 values. The respect for autonomy of seniors, that is, in practice, we will be looking at self-determination, And on the other side, beneficence. And beneficence means that we want to do the best for the senior. So we want to protect them. But in some cases, it is dangerous that we can tend to protect them, even if they don't need our protection, or if they don't need our protection and they have the full capacity to decide by themselves. The research design is a qualitative one. Qualitative meaning here, in-depth interviews with practitioners. So by doing so, I was really taking about 2 hours with each practitioner to discuss about their practice. It was 16 practitioners working in public agencies, but also in non-profit agencies working on elder abuse cases. We did an in-depth analysis of all the interviews, and this in-depth analysis was really done putting the accent on trying to find what were the main issues and the main challenges for practitioners. The main results in this study are actually the fact that we find out that there were 3 scenarios that the practitioners were using in their own practice. The ideal model was support, which we called in the article accompaniment. But there was also some cases where there was a suspension of follow-up. In other cases where we called it in the article extreme measure, I would call it now more formal protective intervention. So this was the first result. The other result is actually all the time practitioners are doing a balance between the values, and they are always trying to push forward self-competency or self-determination for seniors. Even if in some cases, protection issues are quite important. And practitioners will be actually very critical towards their own pratique, and they will say things that in some cases they would like the senior to take other decisions. But if they do respect self-determination for the senior, actually they will respect that decision and withdraw from the case. So our results were organized that for each of the 3 scenarios, we could define what the scenario was, but also trying to identify what type of practice was associated to each of the scenario, and also trying to identify what can be done to actually continue to address ongoing issues, because we can never resolve all the things in elder abuse cases because these are very complex situations. There is a lot of implication for future research because we did capture the issues from the point of view of psychosocial practitioners, and they were giving us very good information about what they were monitoring during the intervention process, like the loss of autonomy of the senior, also the dangerousness of the situation, and the collaboration that they do have with the senior and or with the person who is abusing the senior. This research could lead to other type of research, like with doctors, with nurses, with other type of practitioners. This research could also lead us to do a follow-up research looking at all the issues as they occur during a process of intervention. This was interviews on practice, so it's somebody talking about its practice. I would love to do a research where I'm doing a follow-up in real cases in real time. We would see something else. This research also proposes that we should continue by developing strong tools for intervention and doing the validation of those tools, because we know that there are some good detection tools, but not many tools regarding practice. And when we have tools regarding intervention or practice, we don't really know if it works or if it doesn't work. So we need good information about strong intervention that really makes a difference for the abused senior, but also that permits the practitioner to feel more confident in their intervention.